All right, this is it. Don't get scared now. A Super Bowl edition of The Sweat presented by DraftKings. Coming up, we will have a report from Jesse Cofield in LA where the Rams and Bengals will clash in the big game later tonight. Tons of betting advice, plus a lot of DFS chatter. Because you can once again become a millionaire on DraftKings if you win the contest with $1 million going to first place. Just enter our featured Showdown contest, please. Take your shot at $6 million in total prizes. You get a fat bag of $1 million if you take down this contest. It's in the DraftKings lobby right now. $15 to enter. Stick with us for the next half hour for all the Showdown advice your beautiful heart desires. We're going to start on the sports betting side, though. Let's do that. What did you just have? What did you have? Jesse Cofield's big head? As if her head couldn't get any bigger because she's been out in L.A. for the past few days, hanging with stars.
Get the coffee off the table there, Julian.
This is.
Nobody said anything to me. Nobody noticed until you brought it up.
Since the noon show is no longer carried by Bally Sports Networks here, no one is taking this seriously anymore. It's actually really sad, but also entertaining. So we got Julian Edler here, Steve Buchanan.
Hey.
You hear the angelic voice of Reed T. Fowler, who joins us virtually on Zoom. It's time for Early Edge, guys. Let's get you guys to share with us your favorite bets of the day. We've been keeping track of this apparently all season long, and here are the results. Julian Edlow is the winner, 14-7. Steve, second place. And then Reed, oh, Lord,
Yikes.
The last time out, your best bet did not hit, and you finish, again, last place but top three, 10-10 this season. That's okay. So I'm going to let you go first here. What's your favorite bet today, Fowler?
Start with Thank you. I have to finish in the green here, and I'm excited for Steve's camera angle a little bit, but I'm going OBJ, over 5.5 receptions at plus 100. It's come down from earlier in the week in terms of your payout. It was at plus 115 when we were talking about it earlier, but he's gone 6 for 69 and 9 for 100 plus in his last two games. We see Cincinnati play a little bit more man coverage than the previous two teams that the Rams have faced, and OBJ is one of the best. If you look at his PFF grade, it's 90 against man coverage. Cincinnati's been decent against wide receiver ones, but they haven't been great defending wide receiver twos. And right now, that's what OBJ is in this offense. So give me OBJ over 5.5 receptions for plus 100.
All right, who's feeling this one? Jules, you like it?
I do. I'm not going to argue with the even money, and I'm not going to argue with OBJ's production in this game. 15 catches in the playoffs so far on 19 targets. He's been a big piece of the puzzle for what the Rams are doing. No Higbee, I guess, maybe helps a little bit. Blanton's a guy I like in the prop market, but some of that production could go to OBJ, and the matchup against Cincy. It all works together. I would not be going under on OBJ.
All right, Steve, you were shaking your head in agreement as well?
Yeah, I mean, I love this spot for OBJ. A lot of the reasons that these guys have both said. I mean, he's been so overly productive when he's been with the Rams, especially in these playoffs, too. And it is possible that even if Cooper Kupp has one of these monster games, Beckham can also do the same. We just saw that in the last game that the Rams played, too, as well. Both these guys going over 100 yards. Love this spot for OBJ.
Yeah, that's right. And Reed, I'm not sure if you mentioned, but he could see a lot of Eli Apple as well, who was struggled.
Struggles being nice.
I know. Well, I think there's a reason that they're happy he's no longer there in New York.
Yeah.
Steve, where are you going for your best bet today?
Yeah, so, there's been a lot of talk about these running backs for the Rams, so I am taking the under 82.5 yards for Cam Akers, rushing and receiving. I just don't see how he gets here to this number if there's three guys who are legitimately going to be on the field at running back. Sean McVay has said that he's going to be playing the hot hand in this game. What we've seen from Akers since he's come back, he is not going to be the hot hand. He's been anything but the hot hand. They keep throwing him out there on the field. He's just not getting production at all. Last week, 2 weeks ago, against the 49ers was his quote-unquote best game, averaging 3.7 yards per carry, 13 carries for 48 yards. This has not been somebody who's been productive with the ball. He only gets maybe 1 or 2 targets a game. This number is too high. It's set as him being the RB1 in this game. I don't think he's going to be that.
And Jules, he had his workload reduced too in the NFC title game after a couple costly fumbles against the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with it. I'm on, personally, Akers under 16.5 carries. The workload has been there, but it's different. Like, he's had those costly fumbles that you mentioned, and now maybe he is the RB1 even. Like Steve said, he doesn't think he's going to be. Maybe he is, but I still don't think he cashes his overs on anything volume-wise or production-wise, because Darrell Henderson's back in the mix. It's going to be a three-man backfield. Like Steve said, McVay's going to ride the hot hand, and Akers hasn't been the hot hand. He's averaging under 3 yards a carry in the postseason. They're going to give Henderson, if you're going to ride the hot hand, you got to give each guy, 5 carries to get him going, see what they're going to do. Sony Michel, he was opened on DK Sportsbook at 4.5 carries. I bet the over on him as well. Too much going on to trust Akers off the injury with such a crowded backfield in this game.
I like the call on the rushing attempts there, because if the Rams are up in the fourth quarter, I would expect them to use Michel or Henderson, since they're way more effective than Akers.
And the ball security, too.
For sure, with the 2 costly fumbles in the postseason. But Reed, we're talking Steve's best bet here. How do you feel about it?
I know I like it. And the reason why you like it as well is that, like Julian mentioned, is, his yards per carry is 2.8. It's not great at all. What you don't want to see is a trick play that goes to someone like Cam Akers, because other than his 40-yard, trick play where he got a ton from OBJ, he hasn't done much at all with his carries. And what you do get scared of, like the guys mentioned, Darrell Henderson didn't play a single snap on special teams, which means that there is an offensive role for him in this game. And if it's a three-headed monster, you got to go with the under.
All right, guys, we're going to save the worst for last here.
No.
We're going to go with Julian's favorite bet, which even our producer Slates is like, go to him last, because Julian's been talking about this every single day. And you and I talked about it as well.
Yeah.
It's like opening kickoff to not be a touchback. I'm like, dude, has it been this popular in years past? And you said no, this is the year where it's really blown up.
Cat's out of the bag. Obviously, we're saving the best for last. As you see, I'm 14-7 on best bets
That's
on the
true.
season.
Congratulations.
Hitting at a remarkable 66% clip. That would be even higher if you got the right number on the Niners in Week 1,
He
which
stinks
Steve and
on
Reed
Twitter.
know about. Opening kickoff will not be a touchback. It is my best bet for the Super Bowl. Yes. Look, I wrote it up at Plus Money in my Best Bets article on the DK Playbook. Hopefully you get it then, but if you're just coming in casually, you want to sweat something fun on the kickoff, no, it's not going to be. Because guess what? In the last 28 Super Bowls, 26 of them have been returned. Yes, the kickoff was moved up from the 20 to 25-yard line during that time span, but 7 of the last 8 returned, 8 of the last 10 returned. You go to somebody that's kicked off in a Super Bowl before, Pat McAfee. It's like kicking a bleeping brick.
Wow.
It's not going to go far. It is a brand new football, taken out of the box, placed on the stand, gets kicked off, gets taken to the Hall of Fame. That's that. Maybe you get some nerves. All those flash bulbs going off. Evan McPherson, big leg. I will say I'm hoping for the Rams to be kicking off, because Matt Gay doesn't have as big of a leg as McPherson. I don't think it'll get there, but doesn't matter. Opening kickoff, no touchback. That's what it's going to be.
Do you have anything to add to this, Steve?
I've never been in this situation, so I can't say I know from personal reasons. But
I mean, look, kicking off in the Super Bowl.
If Steve was kicking off in the Super Bowl, I would love this bet.
It would be a surprise onside kick in the opening kickoff. Look, I mean, I have nothing to add to this here, but this has become, as Julian said, a very, very popular play. And, we have prior kickers, kind of backing that up here with guys like McAfee. So I have no problem taking this here. It would be something, though, if I not only lost the coin toss, but then I also lost if it's going to be a touchback or not. So I have lost 2 bets before the first snap is even taken. So I'm hoping for, some good luck here.
I can't help you with the coin toss, so good luck. But I can help you here. At worst, you're going to be 1-1 because my bet's going to win. I don't know about your coin toss.
Looking forward to some angry tweets. And speaking of angry tweets, Reed, you're pretty good at it. Any thoughts that you'd like to add to this opening kickoff, not a touchback bet? Bob?
I did not.
It's such a good bet. It's such a good bet. They don't even want Reed to respond.
No, I think I did actually mute myself. It's the last game of the season. So no, like this one, I agree with what Julian is saying from the stat standpoint. And he mentioned at the very end, Evan McPherson has been fantastic in touchbacks, and both him and Gay have been fantastic. They're in the top half of the league in touchbacks, on their kickoff. So that does scare you quite a bit. But Matt Gay is coming in this a little bit hobbled. So if it's him, then I do like this a lot more than if it's Evan McPherson.
Nothing scares me quite a bit, Reed. I'm fearless.
By the way, we didn't mention this show. We mentioned it in our SNY show from 11 to 11:30. Which, by the way, Reed, you did win the season-long pick-off rapid fire game picks in that one. So congrats there. But fourth,
no one cares.
Yes, I care. 4th most popular bet. Your favorite bet for this
People
game.
read my articles.
Yep, that is wild that people read your articles.
Yeah.
Wonderful work, everybody. We got showdown picks coming up right after we toss out to Jesse Cofield, who is in LA catching up with a guy who has struggled recently with nailing down the coin toss, Steve.
It's snowing here.
What's up, guys? Jesse Cofield here outside the DraftKings house for Super Bowl 56. Yesterday, I got the chance to talk to Josh Allen and Harrison Phillips, and I asked them if they knew that game against the Patriots was going to be a special one.
I could. Yeah, absolutely. Just one of those things. All the stars aligned. Coach Dable was calling great plays. Our offensive line was blocking. Motor was running. Like it took a lot of great individual plays, though, in order for that team outcome on the defensive side as well. But yeah, I think we didn't use our punter at all that night, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable when Josh kind of does his thing. I think he gave us a crazy pregame speech the first time we had our redemption shot at them when we were at their house. And then defense took the field. We went 3 and out with a sack, got the ball back in his hands, and he went down and scored right away. And we had that same momentum, same approach in the playoffs, playing in front of our crew. I mean, it was definitely a fun game where we were firing on all cylinders.
It was a PG pregame speech, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. You answered quickly. Good. What was your favorite game so far in your NFL career?
You go first there.
Yeah.
Think about that one.
I mean, I think it's really cool to talk about like your first time ever playing. So that was the preseason game. We played the Carolina Panthers at our house our first year. We got to play against Christian McCaffrey, a college buddy of mine, Cam. And so it was really, really fun to be in our stadium. First time to see our fans, when we were just coming off, I think 21 years old, 22 years old. And so even though it's a preseason game, just the first time to put on an NFL uniform and run out in our home stadium to play another team, that's going to be a memory I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and for me, I think it was the Minnesota Vikings game my first year. It was my second start. It was my first win as an NFL quarterback, and we were 17-point underdogs that game, I think. Something crazy. We ended up winning by a pretty heavy margin. So that game, though, with the hurdle, the diving in the end zone, the first touchdown pass, like it was a lot of firsts in that game, something I'll never forget.
That was like the first time we saw like Josh Allen, where he hurdled
The Josh Allen.
6'3", 250 pounds. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so on the topic of good games, we're DraftKings, right? So we obviously love fantasy football. So Josh, we're wondering if you could figure out which game was your best fantasy football scoring game of your career. And I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint that the game is from this past season.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you throw like 5 tugs in?
Do playoffs count?
Let's see. We're going.
No, our playoffs do not
Regular
count.
season.
Regular season. The Washington Commanders now, right? I apologize.
Actually,
Football team?
this season at Tampa.
Oh, really?
You had 42.2 DK fantasy points, 308 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 109 rushing yards and a touchdown, and that was your highest scoring fantasy game. And Harrison, we don't mean to make you feel left out when we talk about fantasy, right?
defense.
I'm saying, do you wish defensive players got more love in fantasy?
I mean, you can still draft the Bills defense,
Yeah,
right?
DST, yeah.
I don't know how they could do it, but sure. I mean, get more creative, more fun for the fans, more fun for the players. DraftKings, figure out a way to do it.
Fantastic work, Jesse. Appreciate everything you're doing out there. But make sure all you guys and gals are following all of DraftKings social channels to check out all the great content that Jesse and our entire team has just been pumping out from LA all week long. And all year long, we've been shouting out our winners here on The Sweat during Conference Championship weekend. We had one of the biggest winners of the year, K. Milner Jr., taking down our Fantasy Tournament of Champions live final, beating out some of the best DFS players in the world for $1 million top prize and an awesome championship ring. So that is on top, by the way, of the $1 million that he had already won to qualify for our championship. So congrats to K. Milner Jr. Here's a look at his winning lineup from this weekend. 4 fire emojis in his lineup, but also 3 snowflake emojis. And I guess we're not going to show you guys that. But his highest score, Smart Man, Cooper Kupp, and stacked him with Matt Stafford in there, OBJ. So touche to him. Hold on a second. But wait, there's more. Here it is. So north of 152 total points winning this contest. by just 2 points, and again, pocketing a fat $1 million. Let's help someone else win $1 million today, shall we? Time to bring in our DraftKings contributor duo of Pierce Dietrich and Jeff Ulrich to break down the showdown contest between the Rams and the Bengals. Super showdown picks. Need your favorite picks for this one, guys. Who are you going to captain? So again, anyone who's new that's watching, 1.5 times the points, 1.5 times the salary, though. Jeff.
I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. I feel like everyone's going to get a little bit too fancy here. I mean, Cooper Kupp obviously will be popular, but he's really expensive, hard to build lineups with. People will try and target, some of the other receivers, Chase, Beckham Jr., but who touches the ball the most? It's the quarterbacks. And what have we seen from Joe Burrow over the second half of the year? Well, he's healthy, and he's throwing for over 300 yards per game on the regular. 5 of his last 8 games, he's hit the DraftKings bonus. Running the football more too. You notice you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook, he's got an obvious bigger prop in the rushing department than Matthew Stafford. It's almost triple Stafford's. Ran for 25 yards in that conference championship game against a big pass rush. I think Burrow looks healthy running the ball. I would not be shocked if he rushed for a touchdown either. I really like the upside with Burrow, and I don't think he's going to be that popular in the captain spot today either.
All right, Pierce, who are you going with? Because it would be difficult to build out your lineup, right, if you put Cooper Kupp up there?
Yeah, so let's get fancy. Bengals DST, that'll allow you to put Cooper Kupp. That'll let you roster anybody that you want in your lineup. Bengals front four are going to get pressure. That allows them to leave their secondary and their linebackers in coverage. You got Matt Stafford under duress, throwing into coverage. That's interceptions. That's pick sixes. We saw this happen to Mahomes. They got pressure on Mahomes. He threw into coverage. It did not work out well for him. And we've seen this scheme haunt Matt Stafford before. He faced the Titans team that got pressure with their front four, left guys in coverage. In that game, the Titans scored 16 fantasy points, a touchdown, 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. Against San Francisco, another team, same formula during the regular season. They get pressure with their front four, leave guys in coverage. Stafford threw multiple interceptions in both games, gave up a pick 6 in those games, got sacked plenty of times. I think we're going to see a similar thing unfold in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, NFL best, if you want to call it that, 17 interceptions there for Stafford. Who's an expensive option who you think could be a great value play, though, Pierce?
I'm going to take T. Higgins. I think he's going to be huge point per dollar wise. We know Jamar Chase is going to draw some double teams. We know he's going to deal with Jalen Ramsey. And that's going to leave one-on-one coverage on T. Higgins against Kansas City, against Rashad Felton, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Higgins went for over 100 receiving yards. He's going to be in one-on-one coverage in the Super Bowl against a 5'9 quarterback. He is 6'4". He might also face a 5'11 cornerback. Again, he's 6'4". He's going to be able to catch deep passes. He's going to be able to catch passes over the middle. He's going to be a big-time red zone target. T. Higgins will explode in this game.
Yeah, he's got the same upside there as Chase for sure. Had that week of nearly 47 DraftKings points. That was back in Week 16 against Baltimore. Jeff, where are you going here?
I'm going to go to Tyler Boyd. I mean, realistically, I kind of wanted to target T. Higgins for this question too, but obviously I didn't want to talk about T. Higgins the whole time. And I think Tyler Boyd has very similar potential. And look, I mean, the price gap between these two is big. I mean, we're talking $3,000. Boyd is down there with guys like Sony Michel. He's barely above Kendall Blanton. I mean, we're talking about a wide receiver who plays nearly every snap for the Cincinnati Bengals. And yeah, Pierce talked about the matchups there for like the secondary guys like Higgins and Boyd. The Rams have a couple of nice talents in the secondary, but they have been burned by teams' secondary and tertiary receivers. Juwan Jennings went for 2 touchdowns. KJ Osborne had a big game. There's no reason why Boyd, who gets moved around the formation a lot, he's caught 4 touchdowns in his last 6 games, can't produce here. Even on 6 or 7 targets, I think he's got a very good chance of finding the end zone again in this one. And he's just a lot cheaper than Higgins. So you can even get contrarian if you're going for the big Bengals stack, looking to stack 4 or 5 of them. I think using Higgins and Boyd is fine. I think one of them has a monster day for sure.
Jeff, get us out of here with this. Give me someone you're actually going to be fading in this contest and someone you would recommend people to watch and fade as well.
I mean, I'll be dead honest. I was a little bit on the fence about this one until I heard that Reed T. Fowler was bullish on Odell Beckham. We are fading Odell Beckham here, folks. I do not know why people are so hyped on him, especially for Showdown. He's $12,000 in the captain spot. That's insane. Odell has had 1 decent game. He's gone over 100 yards once. Who cares? You know what you do? You roster Van Jefferson, who returned back to practice healthy this week. That's my hot take for Showdown. Van Jefferson going to outscore Odell Beckham Jr. today.
Man, but his last 2 games, he's been good. 24 targets, 15 receptions, 182 yards, 6 touchdowns last 10 games. He clearly has the trust of Stafford and McVay, and I know Reed T. Fowler agrees with me.
It's true. I do agree with it. And if you just take a look at OBJ and what he's done, I don't know, last game, Jeff, 23.3 DK fantasy points. But sure, go ahead. Fade him like the same way you play Louis Oosthuizen every single round,
There it is.
single day, every single week. Sure. Go do what Pierce is doing with the DST. Sure, let's see how that works
Reed's
out.
analysis is just, what happened last game is going to happen this game. Okay, sure. All right.
Oh, so sue me then.
It's not the worst analysis. I'm just saying.
Ulrich,
Pierce.
grow up.
Yeah, seriously, figure it out, Ulrich. Pierce, who are you fading?
I'm going to fade his quarterback, Matt Stafford. I get that Stafford and Kupp are going to correlate well, but if you roster them together, the rest of your lineup is a hot mess. It's garbage. You got to make a choice, and Kupp is clearly the choice. And I don't think Matt Stafford's going to have a good game. As I mentioned, Bengals DST is going to get pressure. He's going to throw interceptions. He's going to deal with sacks. He's going to have plenty of incomplete passes. I don't buy into the OBJ narrative either. He may end up with a decent game, but point per dollar wise, I think you're going to overspend for Stafford. Just take Kupp and then take the Bengals.
Guys, excellent work, and thanks so much, Reed, for popping in and saying hello. We'll see you at the end of the show. But please, everyone, if you're watching right now, you've got to make sure that you use this new knowledge. Again, we even threw a 3-headed monster in there with Reed to enter our biggest millionaire contest of the year. Take your shot at $6 million in total prizes. I'm not kidding, $6 million. And of course, one person's gonna walk away with that $1 million top prize. $15 to enter. Go do it right meow. Okay, joining me now for the final time this season is former NFL Beefcake and host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Mr. Ross Tucker. Okay, dude, I want to soak up every second of this, all right? I know you're sad it's the last one.
Yeah, I am. No, you just saying that. It's been a fun year for sure. I always have a little bit mixed emotions this time of year. I love the Super Bowl, but it's the last game until August. It's rough. This happens every single year. I'll be melancholy like Sunday night, Monday morning, being like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah, that's why we're going to all be eating our feelings like throughout this afternoon and this evening. Listen, there's a lot to soak up to in terms of sports betting on the DK Sportsbook for the Super Bowl. How about this? In the first 55 Super Bowls, only 6 times has a favorite won and actually not covered the spread. So which team are you siding with here? Because it feels like the Bengals are this team of destiny, Ross.
I love the Bengals getting the points. I've been saying that for 2 weeks. In fact, I love the Bengals getting the points so much that it makes me question how much I love the Bengals getting the points. If that makes any sense at all. Look, all of these games have been close games. We've had 6 in a row that have come down to a field goal. And if the Bengals didn't wilt in Tennessee against that Titans pass rush, or City when they were down 21-3, I don't expect them to blink now. So I like the Bengals in this game. Certainly, I think it'll be a close game. Give me the Bengals and the points all day. And Joe Burrow, I trust.
Yeah, and the Rams, too, were 500 ATS like on their home turf this season, which included a failed cover in the NFC Championship game. And I love that. As an underdog, the Bengals were great this season, ATS, Ross. Like, we're talking 8-3, so love how you have some faith in the Cats. 2 teams, we know these 2 teams can score the rock. So are you feeling more of the over or the under on the total?
Yeah, I'm actually going under. I think these teams both have better defenses than people realize. I mean, the Rams defense with Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, they've done a really nice job, especially here in the postseason, slowing down opposing offenses. Meanwhile, the Bengals defense, we all saw what they did in the AFC Championship game in the second half against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I don't think this game gets as high as other people do. I don't think this is like a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen score fest in the fourth quarter. I think it's like 24-23, something like that. Give me the under.
And all 3 Bengals games have gone under like this postseason. And really, if it wasn't for Tom Brady and the Bucs storming back in the second half, all 3 of the Rams games would have gone under this postseason. So speaking of offense here, you got Joe Burrow, you got Matthew Stafford, 2 quarterbacks here, the favorites to win the Super Bowl MVP. It's been a quarterback 7 of the last 10 times. Who's it going to be tonight?
Well, I think it's highly likely that it'll be a quarterback tonight. It almost always is. And even the other guys that come to mind, when you think about it, you're like, well, what about Cooper Kupp? He could have a big game. Or what about Jamar Chase? Well, here's the thing. I mean, if those guys have big games, it's the quarterback that's throwing it to them. Very hard. It's happened. Julian Edelman and others, it's happened. But it seems pretty hard for it to be a receiver that gets the MVP. I'm going to go kind of off the board here. How about Aaron Donald?
Oh.
I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the NFL over the last 7 years. He has a big game, Emerson. He gets a couple sacks, maybe a strip sack late. Maybe Aaron Donald is crowned with an unbelievable achievement by being the Super Bowl MVP as a defensive player.
Yeah, and his current defensive teammate, Von Miller, has already been a Super Bowl MVP. So Von can tell him everything he needs to do in order to bring home that hardware. Keep it simple for us here. Finally, just who wins and why tonight?
Well, I think the Rams probably win, and that's fine. I would love if the Bengals won for Bengals fans. I know what it was like outside of Philadelphia when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl. So from a fan perspective, I think it'd be amazing if the Bengals won. I just think the Rams are a little bit better, almost across the board. They obviously have more experience, a little more talent, certainly more depth. I think they're better up front, both sides of the ball. That's usually what ends up being the difference. But I like the Bengals to be right there, man. I think we're in for a good one tonight. 24-23 Rams.
It's incredible, too. You look at these two teams, Ross, and how they've gotten to this point. Like the Rams with the big stars trading away all their picks, and then you have the Bengals complete opposite, mainly through the draft and just a teeny tiny bit in free agency.
It's awesome. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's fun to see these teams, different teams, 4 seeds. I mean, get ready for the whole offseason. The NFL telling us every week that the Bengals went from 4 wins to the Super Bowl. Your team can too.
Yep. Lowest seeded Super Bowl matchup here in its history. Ross, do not cry because it's over. Smile because it happened, my friend. So long, partner. It's been a great season with you.
Absolutely, buddy. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's take a gander here at some of the top DraftKings Super Bowl performances. James White in 2017, who could forget that one? Nearly 50 points. 3 of the top 5 here are from Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl. That's impressive and not super surprising. Tom Brady threw for more than 500 yards in that one. Jules, do you remember that game?
Yeah, I was angry.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Here, now I need your Make It Rain picks. Need your Make It Rain picks right now, guys. Julian's back, Steve's back, Reed T. Fowler is back. Little Reed T. sandwich there. All right, give us your DFS play. Who's going to absolutely make it rain cash for people today. Julian, I'm going to let you go first here.
Cool.
All right, thanks, Woody. We are going to Kendall Blanton here. I know there's a lot of other players that guys are going to go to. I like Steve's pick a lot. Higher scoring guys, obvious plays like Cooper Kupp. I really think that with Higbee out in this game and tight end being a position of difficulty for the Bengals defense to defend, the ball is going to find its way to Kendall Blanton. He caught all 5 of his targets in the NFC Championship game for 57 yards. He's going to play a role in this game. I see something in the 50-60 yardage range, and I think he could get in the end zone. So he's the guy that I'm looking to.
He was $1,000 in that NFC Championship game. He is no longer $1,000, but $4,600 could get some good value. Good stuff, Jules. Reed, you are also going to the Rams side?
Yes, thanks, Splinter. Cincinnati against wide receiver 2s, so OBJ, so screw Jeff because he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's going to be OBJ. Cincinnati is 27th in DVOA against wide receiver 2s in the regular season. And you heard Ulrich say that my analysis just from that last game, if you take a look at what Cooper Kupp has done, 8 of his past 10 games, he's averaging at least 11 DK fantasy points, or right below like 10.8. So it's not just recently. They want to get him factored in. So give me OBJ. I think he's going to be the leading scorer on the Rams over Cooper Kupp.
Steve, we'll wrap up this wood-themed segment with you because I found out moments ago you actually played a tree when you were 9 in a school play.
That's right, as well as Prince John. Robinhood. I was a dual acting performance, and here I am today at DraftKings.
Wow.
Higgins is my make it rain pick here for this one. Pierce actually laid it out very nicely. Bobby Pierce laid it out very nicely. Like, he gave a lot of good stats, but the height difference too, especially going up against Williams, 7-inch height difference against him. He's just like push him around like he's a bully or something, it feels like. But I think this is a really great spot for T. Higgins. Double coverage on Jamar Chase opens up guys like T. Higgins. This seems to be a more and more popular play as the week has gone on too as well, but I think T. Higgins has a really big game here in the Super Bowl.
That was fun, guys. That was a really, really good time. Do you want to come over here and thank the fans? Come over here real quick. Let's thank the fans. This is our last show.
Thank
this is
you,
our last
fans.
show. Come over here, seriously. Please
don't
come
feel
over
like
here.
it.
Please.
I'm not in the studio.
Please, I'll Venmo you $3. Please come over.
$3.
Thank you.
$3.
Jesse, it was awesome working with you this NFL season. Thanks for making it back from LA. You were there just 20 minutes ago in the show. And everyone who has put up with us and us being weird all season, we love you. All of us here at DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. Do not forget, I know she is working hard. Do not forget to go on, bet everything you possibly can on the DK Sportsbook today. Enter that Millie Maker contest. Listen to these guys. We're around. Follow them on Twitter. Reed, we love you. We miss you. Everybody, enjoy the big game. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes working as well. That's it. That's a show, and these two have a podcast.
Yeah.